All right, we're here with Dr. Bryan Ardis, and I got to say thanks for all the research you're doing. And the first time I met you, I know you probably don't remember, was in Virginia about 2 years ago.
Oh, awesome.
And we're still talking about this stuff.
Yes.
Which blows my mind.
It blows my mind, too. I've actually said many times, have you ever told the same story over and over, like 20 times a day for 2 years?
Oh, yeah.
But we have a new part of the story.
Right,
There's something new to talk about. It's phenomenal.
So now you blew my mind then, now you're blowing my mind now, and now we're talking about snake venom.
Yeah, snake venom. Snake venom's not healthy for the human body. Just so you know, no one should consume it. No one should inject it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now you said something about China too. So what were you saying about China? That's a very important thing I think people need to understand.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. In the discovery of the snake venom connection as the origins of SARS-CoV-2, which is new to me over the last 5 months, it became very unnerving. I wanted to know who was doing this gain-of-function testing, who was doing this venom weaponizing, who was paid to do that. And the real truth is it comes from the University of North Carolina, just one state above here. The United States created SARS-CoV-2, the weaponizing of venom, the spike proteins, the coronavirus, if you want to call it that was created here. And then we took that gain-of-function testing here and then sent some to Wuhan, some. And then they, in Wuhan, have this great philosophy of actually testing it out, their gain-of-function pathogens and weapons on other people, that they just select communities around their towns and spread it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we're more communistic than China.
It appears
More
that we
people
are
down
behaving
there.
way more communistic than China is with their citizens.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. I know Ann's got a couple questions she wants to ask you about. So
Good.
get her over
Let's
here.
answer some questions. I love questions.
Absolutely. I've got a question. Early on, they were talking about Fauci that wanted the bats and also let me have fetal tissue fresh, not frozen. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so they don't want you to look at snake venom as the source of COVID. So they had the media continue to say the source is either bats or the seafood market. They didn't want anybody looking at the real source, which is snake venom, because once you look at it as snake venom and look through that lens, any ER doctor, any medical doctor who treats snake venom envenomation, being bit by a snake, they already know how to treat it. So they would have known how to treat COVID-19 if they'd have seen that, and were allowed to see in the public eye, that snake venom was the actual origin source of COVID. I actually believe not only did these scientists in China and France find that cobra toxin and many-banded crate venom as the most likely origin source for SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, I actually am convinced there's something that if they would have checked, they would have found there was another venom that was most identical to the spike protein, and that's actually called alpha conotoxin, which is a venom found in marine snails in the ocean that we, the United States of America, have been making in biological weapons labs and around the world, synthetically in factories since 1989. And this venomous marine snail, its venom is just as toxic and deadly to the human body as it is to a fish that they hunt. And it's actually more deadly than king cobra venom to humans. And I think they are weaponizing that. And there's some evidence to support that actually. In Italy, in June of 2020, they took the blood, urine, and feces of 20 different COVID-19 patients from multiple cities in Italy and took 10 people who tested negative for SARS-CoV-2. None of the COVID-19 negative patients actually tested for any animal venoms, including snake venom and conotoxins from marine snails, but every single one of the COVID-19 patients had multiple snake venoms and conotoxins in them. It was actually a combination of 20 different snake venom peptides in the COVID-19 patients' urine, feces, and blood, and then they found 15 conotoxins and then another marine a marine shellfish. It's actually called crown of thorns starfish venom, which is very toxic and deadly. My question is how did marine ocean snail venom end up inside of humans on land? And how did the venom of a starfish show up in the COVID-19 patients and not in the non-COVID-19 patients? Not a single one of those tissue samples from the control group had any. So they're weaponizing these venoms. I actually brought to light just when I was being asked, how do you think they're using these venom peptides? Look, I'm not a gain-of-function testing lab scientist. Ralph Barrick at UNC Chapel Hill is, paid by Anthony Fauci to do all this work. I am not a gain-of-function testing virologist. I'm not weaponizing venoms. I said the most likely source for how they're spreading these venomous peptides, I believe they're just putting in the water and targeting you.
Makes sense.
There's about to be a documentary that comes out in 2 weeks, a second one that we've just filmed. It's going to be called CoVenom-19. And we're actually going to show you documentation from the CIA that they've been weaponizing these snail venom conotoxins and putting it in water delivery systems and targeting even our own people here in America. This is,
Gotta have water.
and they are neurotoxic. They actually attack the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors in your brainstem and suppress the person's ability to breathe, even when ingested, which looks just like COVID-19. So there is a direct link to venoms of snakes, snails, to lead to COVID-19 symptoms. And my worry is it could be in the shots. Now, if venom's not bad enough, you talked about abortal fetal tissue. Why would you take any tissue from any other human, any other animal, and inject it inside the human body? Do you know what happens when you take somebody, for example, do either one of you know anyone who had an organ transplant ever?
I do.
Okay. What did they have transplanted?
Kidney.
Okay, so they took kidneys from another human probably, put it inside this person that you know, and then they had to put that person, whoever it is you know, that has these kidneys that have been transplanted, they have to make that person live on for the rest of their life on what's called auto-rejection drugs. That means they shut off the person's immune system from attacking and killing the kidney. Why? That kidney doesn't belong to you. It's someone else's kidney, and the body recognizes it's not your genetics. So the body is designed to go attack and destroy anything that's not self. It's called autoimmune rejection. So you have to live on these auto-rejection drugs. Why would we inject cells in the form of a vaccine from abortal fetal tissue from some other human or some other animal? Kidney tissue cells from monkeys are inside a lot of the childhood vaccines. Why would you inject kidney cells from a monkey inside of your body unless you want to create autoimmune disease? Period. The human body, when it identifies something that is not itself, will attack it. And then you can generate cells to attack and destroy your own tissues.
Yeah, that's the way
It's
the body
disgusting.
works.
It's the way the body works. And supposedly, God doesn't like murder, but we're using abortal fetal tissues and
Right.
aborting babies, taking their kidneys, their stem cells, whatever it is, and then inject them into.
Aborted fetal kidney tissues being put into food.
It's used as a flavoring agent for food. Yep.
Food.
I hope in 2 more years we're not talking about this still.
Yeah. And how much autoimmune disease is there in this country? I mean, there's tons of it, and they're using it in our food. They're using genetics inside of our vaccines to elicit these reactions that are a natural reaction.
Yeah. All from Dr. Fauci.
Oh, well,
The
Dr. Fauci is a horrible human being, and he's been murdering people worldwide with the same MO.
Yeah.
Lie to you about a virus that you can't see, call it a disease. He did this once before, by the way, multiple times, but he did this once before on a massive global scale. He said, there's this virus called HIV that you can't see that eventually causes a disease called AIDS. Right now, he told you there is a virus called SARS-CoV-2 that causes a disease called COVID. And then he said, we have drugs to address the COVID-19 symptoms. He also said back then that there's something to stop AIDS from developing, and that drug was called AZT. The truth is, AZT, that drug killed 11 million people worldwide, and they called it AIDS. AZT had side effects that are identical to how they described AIDS.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting, but this is how he murdered 11 million people. And they were targeting, obviously, gays, blacks. They were targeting all kinds of groups, and they're doing the same thing now with COVID-19. They said there's a virus called SARS-CoV-2 causing COVID-19. There's this one drug called remdesivir you can use in hospitals, and then you have to get these shots, all of which, those shots and remdesivir cause all of the side effects they call COVID-19.
And we're going to line up for another one.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And there have been millions of people who have died already.
Yep.
Again.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Ardis.
Yeah, God bless all of you.